You're on.
All right, we'll call our plan commission meeting to order. All council members are present, and Mrs. Teal. And I was able to get some information regarding rezoning. Let me try to pull it up here. Maybe. It's been installing it. Okay. So I'm sorry if I've screwed any of this up, but my memory was that you all wanted to understand the process of rezoning better. And so I asked the attorney to just kind of give us a list, and we can have this printed out. This, I'll make sure you all have this. But there'd be an application, and then a hearing date would be set. There'd be notice published. And then all neighboring properties would have to be notified. And they would be able to come to a public hearing regarding your desire to rezone. And after the hearing, this planning commission would make a determination as to whether it seemed like it was rezoning made sense in that circumstance, I guess. So you all probably already kind of knew that, but it's not as simple as us here saying okay to what you all want. Beyond that, then, once you're rezoned, you'd have to go before the Board of Zoning Appeals to get a variance to allow you to use it for what you want to use it for. That's one of those special exemption uses. And I believe I gave you guys the zoning classification that we were looking at. I can't remember which one it was.
Three.
Yeah.
Murray, do you know the timing between the application and the public hearing? Does it have to be publicized for 30 days or?
It's probably something along those lines, but I don't know precisely.
So there
that's
will be a
something where-
wait period between,
Yeah.
the letter has to go out and then there's a waiting period.
People have to have time to
Okay.
observe the notice and then plan to come to the meeting.
Excuse me, when publicized, do you mean put it in paper, because there's not really
Yeah,
one around, but Indianapolis Star, or,
there's a Hamilton County paper.
oh, is there? With the current, with that?
Oh, I don't know what's it
Reporter,
Hamilton County Reporter.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they,
Okay,
yes.
sure,
I know they publish that online, not 7 days a week, but I believe their public notices typically come out on Monday. Do you take that?
I take it.
Is it
seems like
Monday?
It seems like there's some every day, so it just depends on when they come in.
I know
think
there's a large batch of them one
usually
day.
on Mondays
Yes, on
for
Monday.
the weekly one.
Yes. So, and that should suffice, I believe, I believe. Jennifer, isn't that who you use for any public notices, the reporter? Yes, okay.
I was just trying to set expectations.
Sure.
It's not gonna be tomorrow and we have to
Right.
send out a letter. We have to get an application, send out a letter, and then we have to wait X amount of time,
Set a public hearing.
set a public
In
hearing.
the meantime, all the neighbors have to, I don't know if there's a timeline for that. Again, I'm sorry, I don't have specifics.
When you say neighbors, do you mean like the direct neighboring?
I don't remember if it's the the property or
Adjoint.
too deep, you know, certain
Yeah.
things for the BZA, it's too deep, so I'm not sure. But at least the adjoining properties.
So sent by registered mail, return copy received.
Yes.
Okay.
So I can, if that's something you're still wanting to pursue, that I can try to nail down specifics and get you a very detailed
Sure.
outline of how that would happen. But it would probably be a good idea to talk to somebody on the Board of Zoning Appeals too, to see, I mean, I don't know what kind of a variance they've been given lately for different things, but it is a special exception use. I wouldn't think there'd be a problem with it, but you even if we were to do this, there's no guarantee that you'd get through the Board of Zoning Appeals either.
I thought it wasn't allowed use under C2.
It's a special exception. You simply,
Yeah,
see,
From
well-
3 to 2, or 2 to 3, wasn't it? From
one of them, we looked at it last time.
One was residential and commercial.
It's just that the screening was different because you needed more acreage between the C2 and the C3, but I thought it was a permitted use in the C2, but I could be mistaken.
Come on.
See, commercial zoning districts.
So if it's special exception, then it has to go through the BZA.
Correct. Yeah, a permitted use, you just use it for any of those uses, but it's a special exception use that would require a variance.
Okay, and then is Kevin Slaughterback still?
He is, and that would be something where Jennifer could, have him contact you all.
Okay.
You could talk through it with him if you'd like.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and throw something at you. No,
Automobile truck storage
Yeah,
outdoor,
yeah.
right
C,
there.
C2, it's a special exception.
Yeah,
Okay.
automobile/truck storage outdoor.
And I think somewhere in there it also says
That-
you have to have a fence.
Right, it does.
Well, I'd like to throw something out there just to do it if I need to speak at the podium, I will.
We'd like you to.
Actually, that would be helpful.
Okay,
We're
sure.
trying to do this microphone deal. It's
I'm Mark, and I'm Jacqueline's father, and yeah. Well, I bought the property in 2003. So we've owned it been in our family for about 22 years now. Talking it over with my daughter, of course, nobody likes paying higher taxes. Currently, it's zoned agricultural, which keep farmers in business at minimal taxes. And unfortunately, the assessor didn't get back with me. It's not actually the assessor, it's there was a name for this department. I got transferred 2 or 3 times. But I was trying to figure out the exact tax rate on C2. And Jacqueline had spoke with somebody a couple weeks ago. And apparently the other gentleman that has a storage facility in Atlanta is paying, I think, he has 2.7 acres. And I think he's paying couple thousand, 2,700, something like that. So currently, Jacqueline, 2 acres agricultural, it's either 75 or 150 a year. So even at, depending on how it was assessed, I mean, if it was assessed at 10,000, the taxes would roughly be about 4 times higher. If it was assessed at 20,000, they'd be about 8 times higher. But that's okay. Jacqueline, we want to be good neighbors. We want to be, she's operated a business there for many years, and prior to me buying it, it used to be a little antique store with the old red barn there. And as we had mentioned earlier, we have a lot of natural screening there. But what we would like to propose is, if we voluntarily annex into Atlanta so that the tax dollars can stay here, and it would be a lot more tax dollars than we're used to paying, as a sort of an a way to, we would like to get a variance, at least for now, for the screening to have the same standards as C3, because technically there are 3 acres there, they're just not adjoined. And again, for tax reasons and stuff, it'd be better probably not to adjoin it, but we would meet all the requirements of the C3 zoning with the screening if the property were adjoined, because we would have the frontage, we would have the acreage requirements and all of that. Now, not to say fencing is out, it's just that we're taking a gamble on this whole thing. It's you know, there may only be five boats there for 10 years. I mean, there's all kinds of places around that do offer it. Now, I didn't mention to Jacqueline that I think it should be extremely affordable. I'm talking like $30, you know, starting out at $30, and you know, and if it's over 30 feet, maybe $40. But to make it so that people have an alternative than paying, at my storage facility on Greenfield Avenue, my minimum is $90 for a 12 by 30 spot, and for a 12 by 40 spot, it's $120. And I've been full and will be. Unfortunately, there's just not enough zoning in this county, really, unless, you know, your U-Haul down there on 37 that charges $300 and some, and they have a little cover over the top. It's not really enclosed, but it is screened well, and they're U-Haul. But everybody, short of, there are some farmers that are doing this. I think there's one on Cumberland Road, north of 206th Street. And that's great. People, you know, as long as nobody belly aches, I don't know if it's still illegal because they're zoned agriculture. Well, maybe they got a variance. I don't know. And we don't really care. But you know, everybody has expenses, and with campers, if they're making a payment, they have insurance and all this. You know, a lot of times people don't even think about storing it until, but if they live in a neighborhood, they don't have a choice. You know, those HOAs will force them to, probably. And so we would like to be an avenue, and being that the location is not on 19, I imagine it would probably almost serve Atlanta residents. Now, Atlanta's growing and all that kind of stuff, but it may come a time where, you know, you might enact an ordinance where you can say no more than 2 cars in the driveway because people start piling a bunch of stuff in their yard, boats and RVs, and pretty soon there's no grass to mow because they got the whole thing filled full of stuff. And that's just, you know, a wild guess, but I mean, it could be. And that way, if people complain, you can say, well, you know, for $30 a month, come right over here, and that shouldn't break the bank. But we know, you know, we like Atlanta, been here a long time, never had any issues. And we know that Atlanta, you know, deserves and would enjoy getting the tax revenue for it. It's not going to be a great deal of money, but everything helps. And then as a compromise, we would just like to maybe, you know, since it's already going to require a variance, getting a second variance for just having the same restrictions that, you know, that the C3 specifies as far as screening, with the understanding, if it becomes a success, especially if anybody has started generating complaints, then we would go to the expense, you know, of putting up a fence, and we could do it anyway, because it's just a matter of finances. You know, if you have, you know, things more in there, more income, then you have something more to work with.
Were you talking about only doing vehicle storage, like vehicles and trailers, RVs and trailers, things like that?
RVs, boats, and trailers.
Nothing that's not on wheels? Okay.
Excuse me? Oh, no. And you even gotta sort of be careful. I made the mistake once of renting to a roofer, and I don't know how many hundreds of nails I picked up. You know, you just can't let anybody in there, but if, you know, especially a roofer, because they just drop nails everywhere. Nobody sees flat tires.
Under C2.
And that would also solve the
It's called
issue.
outdoor storage. So that wouldn't require a fence.
C3, that's the same.
Right.
Under special exception use.
Automotive and truck storage
Yeah.
versus calling it outdoor storage.
Yes.
Automotive and truck storage. The way that we're both reading this,
That's C3 and C3.
both C3 and C2, it looks like maybe we overlooked it last time. Automobile or truck storage is a allowable special exception use without a fence.
Without what?
Without a fence.
You're right. But I think they require so many trees, so many feet.
Yeah, you would have to do the landscaping,
Right,
but not necessarily the fence.
right.
And I understand the fence is what you were just talking about as being the large expense and not really.
Right.
And what I'm saying is, the way that we're both sitting here reading this, if it's something on wheels, if it's a vehicle of some kind, I don't think you need a fence anyway.
Oh, okay.
I think that the
The fence comes in if you have one of those pod things that you have to
right.
store things in.
And then like so the way that I understand this to be, you wouldn't necessarily need a fence if it's again something on
Well,
wheels.
then we
But
wouldn't need to request the variance to have the see-through
What-
standard.
Well,
You,
you
But
still
we
would need a variance.
for special use.
Yes.
Correct.
But-
Yes.
We wouldn't need an additional one.
Yeah. Yes. So I believe that you would just have to plant the trees that are required and abide by all your setbacks and things, and you should be able to do what you're talking about doing
Okay.
without a fence. As I'm reading this anyway, does that seem like?
that's the way I read it too. When I was just
And I don't know how we missed that at the last meeting, but I saw outdoor
Yeah,
storage
that'd
and
be
just kind
awesome.
of zoomed in on that, and this time seeing,
To put a 6-foot,
Oh,
like shadow box fence up on for 2 acres.
I know,
It's
it's costly.
tens of thousands of dollars.
Is that application online?
I don't know.
No.
I can.
I don't think so.
Do you all want to find out more about the zoning, the Board of Zoning Appeals,
Yeah,
that process too, before you? So you've got the BZA one. Do we have a plan commission application, a zoning application? Okay, I'll get with our attorneys and try to nail down that process and what that application is this week. And we'll get it over to you.
I'd like to see
Well,
it
that's
actually
bad. Do you
drawn,
guys have any
And it could
questions
be-
of us?
obscure, but something we actually know what they're wanting to do.
So some kind of a, that's probably a good idea, Neil.
Schematic.
She was saying maybe some kind of a rough drawing
Oh, sure.
could be
so
helpful.
I did talk to Kevin a while back, like a couple months ago or 3 months ago maybe, and he was adamant that this had nothing to do with him. And that it would all be through the planning commission.
He probably didn't
The
realize that
zoning
it
part
was a
is
special.
us.
Okay,
The special exception, any kind of a variance is them. And
Okay.
none of the council can have anything to do with a variance under any circumstances. None of
And-
us can be on the BCA.
And we haven't had a BCA meeting since that either.
okay.
Do any of you guys have any questions of us?
Oh, I think we're just wanting to be very careful to do this by
Sure.
the book, just so that we don't set a precedence.
Absolutely.
And, it would be easy. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand completely what you're trying to do and not necessarily opposed to it. I think, it's a need. And, with our rules and our ordinance and such, we just want to make sure that, and I know we've drug you folks out now for a couple of months.
Well, the wheels of progress sometimes turn slowly.
I apologize.
I do think we need some kind of drawing, though. It doesn't have to be professional. But people say one thing and do another, and then we don't have any recourse to say that's not what we thought. So,
And it would be helpful if you did move forward, if, you know, if there was a public hearing so people could kind of visualize. Just kind of what you're talking about. Do you all have anything specific that we can try to do for you other than that?
No, I guess, so first I need to do the application,
Yes.
which you don't have right
Not,
now.
right, I can't give it to you today, but I'll make sure you have it by the end of the week.
And Jennifer will ask Kevin to,
So that, he can't do anything
anything yet, okay.
until the property were rezoned.
Okay, so I don't need to worry about that.
We could get it on his radar that
Okay,
you're moving in that direction, but, yeah, obviously we'd have to go through the rezone process before we even get there,
okay,
so.
okay.
So would we do the rezone then before we do the variance?
Yes.
Okay, so then.
He doesn't have anything to do he doesn't have the ability to grant a variance for something that hasn't even been rezoned.
Okay,
So,
so then at our next meeting, could we do the rezone,
we'd have to get it
publicized?
publicized and the
Okay.
notification to the neighbors and the public hearing set. So I'm not precisely sure of the timeline on that, but like, we'll try to get the ball rolling, because I know
Okay.
you all have already been kind of working this way for a while, and like Fred said, we've delayed you long enough. So I apologize for that, but, it's not something that we can make happen like at the next meeting or something like
Sure.
that. You know, we'll try to make it where whatever the required time is, doesn't keep getting bumped.
I think the county might require, like when you do rezone for the county, I think the public notice has to be at least 15 days before. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I'll have our attorneys nail down.
Because we would love to be able to do it at the very next meeting if we jump on it, right?
It would be nice to
Yeah.
move as quickly as we can.
Okay,
So,
yeah, if you could find that out, and
Yep.
how long the notice has to be published, and then to give us time to get on the docket and all that good stuff.
absolutely. All right.
Okay, thank you so much.
We'll get working on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other bank commission meeting minutes?
Business.
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
what page is that?